And then I learned that there's quite a few other people who don't know how to sew. And then I thought of this book. You've seen this on my channel multiple times if you've watched me for a while consistently. This is How to Be Interesting by Jessica Hagee. I still haven't learned that pronunciation. And there's this part. And it's on page 37 if you care. And it says, state the obvious. What's known to you is often a mystery to others. Your old fact is someone else's new lesson. Your simple task is someone else's impossible chore. Your mind is full of treasures that no one else has seen. Pass them on. An idea shared is not diminished. It's multiplied. Then there's another part that says, give it a shot. Try it out. Play around with a new idea. Do something strange. If you never leave your comfort zone, you won't grow. And that got me thinking, that's right. There's lots of people who don't know how to sew. And there's lots of other basic things, basic to me, that a bunch of other people don't know how to do. So, for people who are newly or still haven't quite gotten that adulting thing down, we are going to go on a journey together, which is called Adulting 101. I am going to help you merge into the adult world. Now, here's what we're going to do. I ask you, and I will do the same for you. I'm not going to judge you on what you can and can't do. And don't put me in a pedestal to compare me to other adults. Take your idealism and what you think a functioning adult does and where you should take away all those stereotypes and the things ingrained in your head that say, at this age, you should have blank, because that's stupid. Everybody has different goals. Everybody has different situations, experiences, and needs. But there are some common basic 101 level things that a person at the age of 18 should accomplish. Now, this is not degrees. This is not jobs. This is not career placement or family placement or anything like that, or how many kids you should have or how much money you should have saved. None of that. This is just, here are some basic skills that will help you in your day-to-day life and help you function as an adult and make your daily life easier. And one of those first goals is, as you may have guessed, is how to sew. We're going to learn how to sew today. I have some, and the best way I think to learn is to do some genuine learning. So I have some honestly need to be fixed up items that we're going to sew. The one here, I have a hole, as you can see, authentic hole in this sweater. And the sides have ripped a little bit more than they should be. Just basic wear and tear. And then I lost the back button on this. And this sock has a hole right there. Woo! So let's get to the sewing business. Bloop! Buttons. We're going to start with the buttons because you probably know how often you lose buttons. Now, the best thing about buttons is they're super easy. One, because most garments that have a button come with a button bag. This is usually attached to the tag on the garment, and the matching button, 1 or 2 spare buttons, is thrown in a little Ziploc baggie for your convenience. Sometimes there's even the thread, like if it's a sweater or something, the thread comes with it as well. Woo! If you're in a situation where that doesn't happen, just find the closest button and color that you can. This is the one I have to go with my pants. Now, buttons are simple because you don't have to turn fabric inside out like you do with other things. You just need some thread, a similar color to what you need. This is a light blue, the button, and of course, a little old needle. You can also those. So this is what the needle looks like. It's just a thin little thing, and at the top of it, there's a hole called the eye of the needle. If you have trouble seeing that, these things, there's this little pointy bit that helps you just thread the needle, because you can just use this. Have some scissors. You do not need fabric scissors for thread. Just any old, even little child scissors will work, as long as it's the metal ones. The little plastic ones will not cut it evenly, because you do not want any little fuzzy bit. So if you pull or rip this, it's not going to work as well. You want all the little pieces together. You don't want a furry tail end of your thread. So like I said, I also recommend keeping a magnet around in case you drop this. It happens more often than you think. So you can just push this in yourself if you want to, or if you don't trust yourself to do that, you stick the thread in this. So let me see, there we go. Just stick that through there slightly, and then push this in. So you need this to not be bent, and mine is. So I've always just threaded my needles. So just push it through. And it's really just lining it up until it goes through. Now, what you need to do is you need to pull it fairly long. As you can see, you want quite a bit of thread. Unwind, pull the tail end down, and to make the two sides even, have a little bit of the tail hanging out and cut both ends at the same time. That way it's even. Then what you need to do is make a knot. So take your index finger and make a little hole around there. Then make a circle around your finger, whichever is your dominant hand, do whatever you need to do. Then use this finger to pinch and pull through and make a knot. I always do this a few times so that my knot is nice and big, because if the knot is not big, sometimes you risk the thread when you're sewing just pulling past it, and that doesn't help you. A little bit smaller. The smaller the circle, the easier it is to get it in the same place to make the same little knot. And like I said, it might take you a couple tries to get it just right, but after that, you'll end up with this little knot at the end, which will hold it in place. So now you have this double stringing method. You don't want to make a knot at the eye of the needle, because then you won't be able to pull it through your fabric. It'll get stuck, and then you could risk tearing. So once you have your thread, get your button, and whichever way you want your button to face really just depends on whichever way. So I have this one for a reference, and this has the dip sticking out. So as you can see, there's like a little dip, and this one has a little dip right there. It has the bowl. So that's why you're gonna have it facing. And the best part is, wherever you lose the button, there's gonna be a hole. There's gonna be a little space to tell you right where you need to put these holes. So put it relatively in the space that you need it. And what you wanna do is you wanna start from the inside of the fabric here. So this is the pocket, and you wanna start through. And all you have to do is just pick a spot and just push the needle through. Then while you're holding it, I tend to use a pinching method. Choose whichever hole you want to start with and just stick your button through like that and pull. Having that knot will stop the thread from going all the way through, and your button is going to be loose at this point, but that's okay. Hold it in place. This is going to be fun. I should have did a trial and error of this before I did it on camera, but we're learning together. So you want to make sure that you keep the pocket or wherever away from the rest of that, because otherwise you're going to sew them together. So then go to the diagonal hole. If there's only 2 holes, if you only have a button with 2 holes, or you have the single eyelet button, which are the buttons that are rounded and have a hole in the back, like a little hook on the back, then you only have one direction to go. But if you have a 4-hole button, go to the opposite diagonal and push it back through. The needle comes out the other end of the fabric. Then bounce the needle until you find the hole again. Push it, and then keep sewing. Now what you want to do after the first couple ones is make sure that you pull this a little bit tight and make sure the button is actually against your fabric. And it's easier to do this while you're looking at it. Then go to the upper one, pull it through, sew it. And you're just going to end up doing this a few times because that makes everything in life a little easier for you. So what's going to end up happening at this point, after you do that a few times, is you'll end up with several of these. Just go over it until you feel like your button is secure. Once you have your button secure where you want it, we're going to knot the thread. This is what will keep because if you don't do this, your button's just gonna come loose, probably after not too many uses, because the thread's just gonna unwind itself. So you need to make another knot in the back. So what you need to do for this is you need to take your needle and go and push it through the back of the fabric, like so. Pull it, and then do that a couple times, but you want to take this little circle here, little double circle, stick the needle through, and that will make this nice knot. I like to, again, make 2 or 3 just for extra security purposes. But you go and you pull through, get it nice and secure, make sure you get it underneath that thread so that it stays in place, and then just cut as close as you can without cutting the knot. And you'll be able to wash it, you'll be able to wear it, and you are repaired with your